First Man. You know the drill. A college kid is imbued with great power and likes it. Penumbra has other plans and hand delivers him to Monarch, a fun 64-page action-packed comic book harkening back to the glory days of Marvel Comics, only on Indiegogo.
Well, hello. Good Monday afternoon. At least I hope it's good for you. My Monday, what can I say? It's Monday, right? I got up. It's the first Monday after the holidays, so it was a little bit of a bear getting back into the run of things, I guess. I get up at like 6:30. I work out, watch a little TV while I eat breakfast, and I get up here about like 8 o'clock and try to start working. So you guys don't want to hear that. Wait, what was that video? Oh, that's the promo video for my First Man campaign that's on Indiegogo right now. Let's just pop the link in for it. There's the link. So please, if you haven't backed it yet, head on over and back it. The campaign has met its funding goal. Woo! So now that it has, it's on to stretch goals. And the first stretch goal is going to be a Penumbra. That's the female character in the book, bookmark. So it'll be a bookmark featuring art of her, two-sided bookmark. So hop on over there. Please back the campaign if you haven't already. I would really appreciate it. I'd really appreciate it. I'd be like your friend for life. Trust me. I have friends that have me as a friend for life. And they love it. They do. But that's not why you're here. You're here because I'm going to go over a couple books I got for Christmas. I got the Marvel art of Adam Kubert and Marvelosity, the Marvel art of Alex Ross. I love art books. One of the reasons I got into comic books is because of the art. That's what first attracted me, like probably most people. You look at it, you flip through, you're like, oh my God, this kicks ass. I got to get in on this. Hopefully you go home and read it, and the story pulls you in as well. One of the first artists' work that I really enjoyed, even before I went to the Kubert school, was Adam Kubert. Now, he was just starting out in the business at that point, which I didn't know. And what was the first work I think I saw his was a book for DC Comics called The Clash. It was a 4-issue prestige format, which means it was square-bound book that he did for DC. I believe he penciled it, inked it, and colored it. All right, let's get into this bad boy right here. To do that, I got to move my camera because I don't have a fancy setup here, so bear with me as I move the camera so you guys can see the book like I see the book. I just clip it onto my shirt. So let's see. Chris Reader says, super happy it reached its goal. Congrats, Andy. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. All right, let's see. Let's adjust this so we can get a better shot here of it. Let's see. All right. So the Marvel art of Adam Kubert. Adam Kubert is the older brother of DC Comics artist Andy Kubert, and they're both the sons of legendary comic book artist creator Joe Kubert. I actually met Andy first when I was at the Kubert school, and then through him I met his brother Adam. And when I went there from 1988 to 91, they were both working at the school, not as teachers, but their studios where they drew their comics from for Marvel were in the basement, actually, the Kubert school. And it sounds dungy, but the basement was actually nice, and their studios were nice. So I'd go down there every now and then and hang out and see what they were working on. This is a nice hardcover book, as you can see, big format, retails for $50, but Amazon, everything's less at Amazon. I believe that's where my wife got it for me. It clocks in at 222 pages, and it is chock full of art. One thing I love that Andy and Adam got from their dad is, and I remember Joe teaching this in the Kubert school. I was lucky enough to have Joe Kubert for 2 years. Is he always said, sign your name so it's legible. The last thing you want is somebody to look at your artwork and be like, oh my God, that's a wicked piece of art. Who did it? And then they see some chicken scratch that they can't make out. And I know what you're thinking. There's lots of artists out there whose work you can't, you can't read their signature, but they've been doing it so long that you know whose work it is. Like Bill Sienkiewicz, his signature isn't really that legible, but when you see it, you're like, oh, it's Bill Sienkiewicz. So anyhow, Joe Kubert's signature was legible. Andy's is, Adam's is. I love this whole motif right here. Jumping in, this looks like a piece that Adam did specifically for the book of the X-Men, who he worked on the X books for a while back in the late 90s. I picked up that run. I picked up most of what Adam and Andy do. And the thing I like about this book, it goes in chronological order. So it starts off with, well, the Kubert legacy. So it goes into a little bit about Andy, Adam, and Joe. I love pieces like this. This Marvel Age cover. Marvel Age was a magazine that Marvel put out for well over 10 years. Came out monthly, and it would just it was their monthly promotional little comic book. It was like $1 back then. And it would just promote, the most recent things that Marvel was doing that month or coming out later in the year. So this issue had a nice write-up about the Kuberts, a nice interview. What I love is this photo's taken at the Kubert school, and this is the entrance to the Kubert school. And I just love how, you got Joe, that's Adam, and Andy, and then all their, Joe's creation, Thor, looking on. Adam was drawing Wolverine at the time, so Wolverine, I believe that's actually Adam's motorcycle, and then Colossus busting through the Kubert school, drawn by Andy. So there's a nice brief intro. This is an early piece. When Adam started out, he was actually doing more inking than penciling. And this is a piece that his brother Andy drew that Adam inked. One of the great team-ups that those two boys did together was Batman versus Predator, the DC Dark Horse team-up. And Andy penciled it, Adam inked it, and I believe Adam colored it as well. And I think it was written by Dave Gibbons. Another early piece of work, penciled by Andy and inked by Adam. Very cool. You could tell this has more of a Joe feel to it, Joe Kubert feel. This is early on in both their careers, and Andy was very influenced by Joe. In fact, I'd say a little more than Adam was. You look at some of Andy's first work, Conan and stuff like that, and it really looks like his dad. Now this is just the coolest. Adam penciled it, and he got his dad Joe to ink it, and it's got all the traits of Joe's inking with the nice thick brush strokes. You can see the pen line. Joe has a inking technique where he would go in with pen first, then he would go in and do the big heavy brush rendering and really try and chunk up stuff with his feathering and stuff. But I mean, this is just it's a dynamic layout with the diagonals cutting across, the extreme perspective. It's a beautiful piece. And I believe Adam's first work penciling was Ghost Rider. And the thing is, I didn't know that at the time. I just assumed, besides that Clash stuff, he was in the business for a while at Marvel, just doing stuff I hadn't seen. But his first gig in '92 for Marvel was penciling Ghost Rider, Spirits of Vengeance, which is a book I actually happen to have. And I have a few of the early issues on my spin rack actually, which you can see right there in the background. Here's an opening double page spread. The thing I like about art books is I like them to be heavy on the art. I mean, I do want to read about how the artist came up and their past and influences and stuff, but overall, I just want to look at art. And I'll be honest, as much as I like color, and I understand you want to put color pieces in a book because it's a full color book, I love this black and white stuff. I mean, this is some gorgeous inking and penciling by Adam. Love, I mean, look at that eyeball and then all this nice slick rendering. And one of the things I actually knew when from talking to Adam at the school, but it also says in the book, is Adam actually went to, I think, is it the Rhode Island School of Art and Design? And he wanted to be a medical illustrator before he got into wanting to switch over and do comics, and before he attended the Kubert School. Both Andy and Adam attended their dad's school in the early 80s. So this skull is just awesome. It's just a really cool composition. Just these fat pen lines he has going on here. Great sense of lighting. Another great black and white piece. I'm not going to be talking too much, just basically going through the book, because I want you guys to buy this book. If you're a lover of comic art, then books like this should be on your shelf. Look at this skull. And this is referenced. You know, this isn't drawn out of his head. He referenced it. He referenced this gun, you know, referenced motorcycles and stuff. Even though this is a made-up motorcycle, you can still reference from real motorcycles and then add on the design stuff that wasn't there. There's a great cover that Adam probably still owns. I'm guessing, I don't know for sure, but this is printed from the original art. Getting Venom in there. This is really cool. Adam has had so many great team-ups in his career. Ken Stacy is an artist known for his color work and his painting of his own work, and got Ken Stacy to paint over the cover. More Spirits of Vengeance. So I like how this book touches on basically chronological order aspects of his career. This one over here is inked by, I believe Adam inked this cover. Yep, he did. But then this is inked by Klaus Janson. Klaus, one of the premier inkers in the business. And then we go to Wolverine, and that's where Adam really burst out, I think. His first issue was issue 75, where Wolverine was coming off getting all his adamantium ripped out of him from Magneto. Look at that. So the one complaint I have is, because this is a thick hardcover book, it can't lay flat, so you miss a little bit of the art going into the spine right here. It's a small little nitpicky thing, but I would love to have been able to lay this flat and see right in here, especially with his head being cut in the spine. Hey, Amanda, glad you're joining in. Just look at the pictures. You don't need any sound. It's all good. You're at work. I like it. I'm at work too. It's such a cool shot right here, Cyclops. Look at that. That is just gnarly looking. And in this, you get to see some of its pencils. And that's the other aspect of comic artist stuff I love to see, is their pencils. Everybody has different pencil techniques. And this is a lot tighter than I thought he penciled, to be honest, because I haven't seen much of Adam's pencils before. But it's very cool, and like you can see the hint of his dad's style and like the way Adam does hair. It's just so cool. And please feel free to ask any questions if you have any. I'll do my best. One thing I like about Adam is he experiments with different techniques. It's not all just, I'm just going to pencil it and then pick out the get out my ink and brushes and ink it. This is all just pencil. This is just a pencil wraparound that he did tonal gray tones on in pencil to show the forms and stuff. And I love the exaggeration of the characters. Once again, it's kind of hard to see the saber tooth and its glory because so much of it is wrapped into the center of the book, but this Wolverine. And then here's the final where the Hildebrandt brothers painted over the pencil piece Adam did. So Adam did that pencil piece to show all the tonal values, and they stuck to it, and then Adam did this as a overlay. Here you can really see Sabretooth's face really nice. Jim Taylor says they should have made it a flip out page to lay it flatter. Good call, Jim. I agree. I also really like the Hildebrandt brothers painting technique style. It's especially over, well, in their own, they're fantastic painters, but when you see them married with an artist like Adam, it's just so cool to see this exaggeration, because I don't believe the Hildebrandt brothers do this type of exaggeration on their own work. I'm pretty sure it's acrylic paint. This spread, this was, I believe, talk about a great pullout. In the actual comic book itself, this was a pullout. I think this was 4 pages. So it was a 4-page spread. Yeah. So that was 1 page, another page. This was cut, another page, another page. I mean, Adam just does these camera angles. I mean, this is an extreme upshot, not easy to draw. Looking at Sabretooth lunging at Wolverine, and then the lighting on it is fantastic. And the inks on this piece are by Mark Farmer, and Mark Farmer's a brush guy, and the brush work is just so lush. I tell you, this book, if I just read it, it would have taken me a while, but because I pour over the art, I think it took me a few days. I probably spent 6-7 hours looking through this book, because when I first looked at it, I really got in close and just admired the line work of Mark Farmer's inks. And this was another 4-page spread. I remember it says in this book too, Adam said he wanted to make this issue where Wolverine and Sabretooth fight just really something special. So he talked Marvel into doing these big 4-page spreads that did unfold and pull out. Great page. I love this page. I have this comic still. Just, Adam drew Wolverine, the height Wolverine should be, a short, stocky, muscular dude that just would take on anybody. And here he is, facing down the Juggernaut. Some more nice tight pencils for a cover. This cover's inked by a friend of mine, John Dell. John is one of the premier inkers in the business as well. He does a lot of brush work. I'm going to have to skip through because I don't want to get copyrighted on this video for showing a whole book. So then it goes into the chapter where Adam had his brief run on the X-Men. I think it only lasted like a year or so. But he worked on, some of the big storylines, Onslaught. Once again, just real dynamic cover. I always have a hard time on covers showing the back of characters, because to me it's like, no, you want to show their front. But I mean, he pulls it off really well. And here's another one of the covers, kind of same thing, except now we got Captain America. I love the exaggeration of this anatomy right there and the lighting on it. Monster spread from an issue of X-Men. See what I mean? Not a lot of text, just captions to go along with the artwork. Other than that, let the art speak for itself. It's an art book. This is Adam playing around again. Like I said, he does, like, I do flashbacks and I go, oh, it's a flashback. So the colors can do something weird to indicate it's a flashback. I could do something weird with the panel borders. All right, does Adam do that? This is also a dream sequence, but because it's an erratic dream sequence, he does these really whacked out panel borders, and the whole thing was drawn in pencil and not inked to give it a different feel, and the colors took a different feel with it as well. I was just looking at this issue over the weekend. This is from 375. Wolverine dies. Spoiler alert, it's a scrawl. I don't really consider that a huge spoiler because the book's 20 years old, so sue me. It's not like it just came out. Kick-Ass Wolverine here, inked by Tim Townsend. Another one of the premier inkers in the business. I don't think Adam Kubert hasn't worked with anybody that's not just one of the premier guys. These are trading cards I've never seen before, so this was cool. Once again, Adam loves to play around. Here he is doing stuff on toned paper with gray tones on this gray toned paper, and then, you know, whiteout effects, splatter for those eyes to really give them a cool lighting effect. And then he bounces to the Incredible Hulk, and I have most of these as well. Like I said, I follow artists. You know, I don't know if I was getting Hulk before this, but when Adam started doing it, I got it. This is a great sequence. I've never done a transformation sequence of Bruce Banner into the Hulk before. I've seen many different artists draw their own version, and this is his version of doing it. And I mean, it's just so cool. It's inspiring. It makes me want to sit down and do a transformation sequence, but I just don't have the time. Jesse Marsh, Andy, what's up, Jesse? Thanks for joining. Showing some of his great covers. Pages from it. He plays with logos on the cover. This cover, Hulk 29.99, inked by Kevin Nolan. Kevin Nolan is a guy that I would love to have ink me one day, and I've asked him, but he's in demand. Super busy. And then Adam, of course, with Mark Millar, relaunches Ultimate X-Men with the success of Ultimate Spider-Man. They did Ultimate X-Men. I remember this page in the first issue of Colossus just being like, man, that is so cool. Of course, it ends with a great Wolverine shot. This was all inked by Art Kubert. Another great spread. And Adam's an artist whose work I don't actually own any of. I collect original art, and I have a couple of pieces of Andy's work, but none of Adam's. Here's that. I'm just going to do a flip through the rest of it because, like I said, I'm not exactly sure what the rules are, and flipping through. I just want to give you guys an idea. I don't want you to be able to like just pause it and be like, I don't need to buy the book now. Look at the lighting on that. I am like, one thing that Adam does that I'm just in awe of, because it's something I think I need to work on, is lighting. And this lighting, you know, split lighting coming from different directions is just so awesome. He had a slight run on Ultimate Fantastic Four, retelling their origin in the Ultimate Universe. Oh, this was great. In their space suits. After they were changed, of course, because you can tell. He did New Mutants covers for a while. This, I believe, is when he came back to Marvel, because him and Andy both left Marvel, I think, in 2005 to work for DC, and Adam did Man of Steel story arc or Action Comic story arc with Richard Donner and Jeff Johns, which is super cool. I've got the collection of that. And he comes back, does those covers, teams up, I believe, with Jason Aaron to do Spider-Man Wolverine miniseries. He got up and did some Avengers work, which I bought. Worked on that big crossover of Avengers versus X-Men. This splash page right here. Well, I don't know if this was a splash. I think it was an opening splash. But just coming at Cap, and Cap's like, I don't think so, with his mighty shield. I believe that's John Dell on the inks. Let's see if it says. Yep, inks by John Dell. Just look at this beautiful, beautiful line work by John. Then when they did the Infinity storyline, he did covers for each one, variant covers, each with a certain color theme for one of the gems. Thought that was pretty cool. I love this. Just the amount of black that he put on it, and it's like they're really coming out of shadow. Focus all right here. Nice circular design going on. I'm running out of room for all these hardcover books on my bookshelf. I just can't help it. And then he followed up Wolverine Origin that his brother drew with the follow-up Origin 2. This is great. I think he was digitally inking his own work at this time. Look at that polar bear. How cool is that? That was great line work and stuff. Wolverine's like, ain't no polar bear got nothing on me. I'm King Kong. I love this. This, I think, was a splash page. Great pencils. 2 covers. And this, these don't need ink. These are fantastic, and I'm sure they were digitally painted over. This is great from his Wolverine's Weapon X days. And then he launches, I think, did he help launch? I think he launched this new Peter Parker book. See, I just read this about a week ago after I got it for Christmas, week and a half ago, and I've already, the writing goes in and out. I need to reread, but the pictures stay with me. See, photo reference, people. Every artist uses photo reference for some things, not everything, but, if you have to use photo reference, it's not a crutch, it's a tool. I think he got the design, Peter Parker's sister. And then it ends with Captain America, which I was super excited to see him draw because Cap is one of my favorite Marvel characters. So seeing him draw Cap was awesome. This was a double page spread fight scene. This is how they should have printed other double page spreads, so you can see everything. Just great choreography in this fight scene. Now, I don't mind how these panels are the same size because it's really just a snapping through fight. Beat, 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 with them all the same size. So you start big, and it's just like closing in on the action with the same size panels, and then widen it out for dramatics. And it's just the last part of the book just showcases different things he's done for Marvel in his career. Like, this is a piece I've never seen before. So that's it. We'll end with this bad boy. Daredevil, was this 2000 unpublished art originally intended for the 2003 series. And that is just awesome. Who inked it? I think he did. Yep. This guy's a little reflection back there. So this, I recommend highly if you like Adam Kubert's art. I would definitely suggest this book if you're a student of comic art masters and storytelling. Recommend this book. Next up, Marvelosity. Alex Ross. We all know when Alex Ross burst on the scene back in 92, 93 with Marvels. And it was just basically, when I saw it, it was, what if a classically trained illustrator drew comics? It's like, what if you know, the illustrators of the 50s that did advertising work, or Norman Rockwell, somebody like that, was like, you know what? I want to take a stab at drawing comic books. This book is really cool. It goes through his career. It has a great, I mean, this shot of the thing is, without the hand, when I look at the hand, the whole piece, I know it's a painting, but just looking at like the thing's face almost looks like it's a photograph of a model and not a painting. And this does have a huge fold out cover. It's like Alex was like, I don't know what cover I should draw for the book. So he just drew or painted all these different ones. And they say, you know what? We'll print them all. I'm actually going to take this dust jacket off while I look through it. This is another $50 book, but you can get it from Amazon. This came out in 2018, so you can get it probably for half that now. This is for Marvels. And the thing that killed me, well, I remember when Marvels came out, and I was looking at it, and I was just like, wow, that's got to be some old school illustrator that's been around forever that decided, you know, I want to do comics. And then I find out Alex Ross is a year younger than me. And I'm like, oh, this guy is a year younger than me doing this type of work? Wow. Because I just, you know, I haven't painted much. So I'm going to do a faster flip of this one just because it is a whopping, I'm trying to find the page number here. Well, why would they put page numbers on a book? It has a special 10-page story in the back that Andy, man, I'm just getting names all over the place. Alex Ross. It has a 10-page story that Alex wrote and illustrated just for this book. It's got a couple other fold outs as well. This is a cool fold out where he's taking the fight scene that Jack Kirby did originally of Iron Man and Submariner, and then he's doing his take on it, painting it, using the exact same panel layouts and such. So that's super cool. There's that fold out you were talking about, Jim. Actually, you can tell I'm going through the back of the book. This book looks like it's probably about 250 pages, since there's no page numbers that I saw. Let me get here. Nope, still no page numbers. So I'm thinking this book's about 250 pages. And it goes into his process. Get to that. I love artist process. I've seen Alex's process before, I believe, in a Wizard magazine special. But it's cool because it shows, you know. He sets up photo reference. Here he's using a head that was sculpted off of a Captain America drawing he did that's life size. It's not that expression. The head is just closed mouth, but it helps to show the angle and lighting. Here he's posing himself with the way Cap's kind of throwing the shield with a thicker glove on like Cap's wearing. It's getting kind of the facial expression there. Then he works up pencil sketches. marker comps. And he transfers it to a bigger board and goes in with an underpainting in sepia tones. And he uses gouache for the final painting, and he'll pop in airbrush if he has to, but most of it is done with real hair brushes for the painting, as you can see. And for certain effects, he'll get out the airbrush. So, and this book is in chronological order too, just like the Adam book was. Alex's book is in chronological order, showing stuff he did as a kid, which is stuff I just love. I still have drawings from when I was a kid packed away. Here he is in his studio with a life-size Captain America behind him, keeping him company. He must have so many life-size head sculpts in his office based on his work. Because there's a Spider-Man one. He's got a Green Goblin head sculpt, life-size. This black and white work really gets the feeling of flame across, even though it's just in black and white. And, the thing I like about an introduction by J.J. Abrams, I mean, come on. But the thing I like about Alex's work is, even though he's a very realistic artist, you don't look at it and go, oh, he's just tracing photographs, because he's not. He's drawing. Alex draws really well out of his head, and then he uses models to just enhance it. And that's a key. Classic Submariners fighting. I mean, this book doesn't have that much text at all. These are sample pages he did in 1990 when he was 20. And they didn't get him work. But I see stuff like this in comics today, and I'm like, wow, okay. I mean, this stuff definitely has potential. I mean, this stuff's cool. Is it professional assignment worthy? No. And I don't think Alex scored a gig off of this stuff. But he kept honing his skills and practicing. Here's some newer sample pages from those. And he kept honing his skills and practicing until an editor noticed. And he got his first gig. And here, Clive Barker's Hellraiser was his first gig for Marvel. I think his first actual gig was for Now Comics doing a Terminator thing. And then, of course, comes along Marvel, and he writes this big pitch, and he shows it to Kurt Busiek. And the rest, you can say, is history. I love this for the Torch. He came up with an idea of using taking a photo and then using the negative of it to kind of give an idea of what somebody on fire like the Torch would look like. And that is just very inventive. Of course, he went to a very well-known art school in Chicago, so he got really good training. Art Academy, Artist League, something like that. I mean, talk about dedication. My wife, if I did this, she'd be like, what are you trying to burn the house down? He made a doll out of like aluminum foil, or he wrapped the doll in aluminum foil and then doused it with lighter fluid and lit it on fire to take a picture of, to see what a figure on fire would actually look like. I mean, I saw that and I'm like looking around my office going, I don't like that action figure that much. Maybe I should wrap him in aluminum foil and light him on fire, because that's awesome. I might actually do that and take a photo of it. He made out of FedEx boxes. Talk about referencing stuff. He made out of FedEx boxes and cardboard a Galactus helmet that he could put on. That is freaking awesome. Awesome. Classic shot from Marvels. Now, it's very realistic, and yeah, this is one of the shots where you look at it and you go, yeah, it looks like a dude kneeling down. He took a photograph of a dude kneeling and then put the costume on him. I would like to have seen Galactus bulked up a little more. I mean, besides the fact he's the eater of worlds, look, if you're one of these little people on the street and you looked up and saw this huge guy, you'd be intimidated. But if this huge guy had like veins popping and stuff and really jacked out, I'd be a little more intimidated. Just saying. That's me. Love this. The wings have like a blur to it done with the paint. But this is what I'm talking about. He's doing these thumbnails for the pages on the script page like a lot of us artists do, and he's doing them out of his head. So he'll get the thumbnail laid out from what he pictures in his head, and then he uses models that he poses according to his thumbnail. He's not just searching out pictures to go, oh, that'll work, and use it. Another life-size Silver Surfer he had sculpted from his work. This is all just focusing on highlights from the different issues of Marvels. I believe he actually recreated this cover in pencil and ink and then painted those on a separate piece. I think that's what it said. And this is what I love seeing over the years is Alex Ross painting over different artists, painting over Jack Kirby. So it's like taking a Jack Kirby drawing. I mean, that is a Kirby face. This is a Kirby pose. Even has the slashes in there that Kirby does, in his work. That's a Kirby leg, but with Alex's painting style, that is just so awesome. One of the other ones, and it was for DC, there was a Green Lantern, a couple issues of Green Lantern in the Atom that came out when Gil Kane was still alive. Gil Kane drew them, and Alex painted over Gil Kane's pencils for the cover. And it was just so cool. He painted over Eric Larson for the Savage Dragon Superman team up that DC put out like 20 years ago. And it's so cool seeing Alex's painting style over like somebody who's so different, art-wise as Eric Larson. His take on that classic cover. Love the twist that he gave the body here with Cat punching. I mean, look, that's classic, but this really torques it with that punch. Twisting the figure. His take on the Avengers. Another classic Avengers. X-Men. I mean, I think that's a Kirby pose that he did. Just painted right over, keeping the silhouette. So, if you're a fan of Alex Ross, I already had his DC book because DC put out a nice fat hardcover just like this, featuring his DC work. Then they actually put out one called Rough Works, or Rough Stuff, which is all just Alex's pencil stuff, not finished paintings. But Marvel finally got it out 2 years ago. I finally got it. Full-size sculpt Spider-Man based on his work. I'm just flipping through some stuff. Oh, this is cool. Let's see. Design sheet that he did for this Spider-Man costume, which I didn't know he was the one that designed it. It's just a different take. It's the red and blue costume. So you look at that and you go, oh, it's Spider-Man. He still has kind of the belt just angled more. The webs are more stylized. But it's all there. And you look at it and you go, yeah, Spider-Man. I mean, his marker roughs could be finished pieces that are printed. There you go. Nice shot of the costume. This is marker, not gouache, not a painting, but just marker. These are great designs that Alex did, utilizing a little of John Romita Sr. style I don't think it's in here, but in the DC one, there's artwork of Alex's where he's kind of utilizing the Bruce Timm animated style. Some Spider-Woman sketches that I think he even credits. Let's see. The text is hard to read on the next page, but he credits some of these poses from the Andrew Loomis Figure Drawing for All It's Worth book. Another sculpture based on Alex's work. This costume, he was asked to help out on the first Spider-Man movie, and he pitched this idea off of a costume that David Williams, another fantastic artist, created, and he asked Dave if he could use it, and Dave was like, yeah, man, go ahead. Obviously, it didn't make the cut for the movie, but he did do some art for the opening credits of the movie, so that's cool. Tobey Maguire, wishing he was still that buff. And myself, wishing that I was that buff. Oh well. Oh, Earth X, the Earth X trilogy. I remember when that came out. This was all an Alex Ross brainstorm. It's a shame. I mean, I thought the art inside Earth X was really, really nice, but I was really hoping Alex could do it, but it was just too much of a time commitment. So he just did the covers and all the concept design work. His bald Captain America, scarred up. He's been fighting his whole life. These are just great sketches. Design stuff. This is a very, very comprehensive book. This was a back-to-back shot of Earth X, Cap for Wizard, and Kingdom Come Superman. So there's one DC thing in this Marvel book. Female Thor. Love this Black Bolt design. That is just so cool. He can't speak. Look at that. He's got this metal thing over his face. Little S&M. I see a little S&M going on. It's like underneath this metal thing, if he takes that off, you think there's like a ball gag or something, because that'd be pretty funny. Medusa. You gotta love this Medusa. She's got hair. Not only does she have long hair, but it's coming from her eyes, her cheeks. She's got hair. She have a goatee. It's Medusa. Earth X Hulk. That dude is he's like Popeye Hulk. It is weird because it looks like he's wearing a diaper. That's kind of weird. But hey, this is cool. This is him inking, Alex inking John Romita Sr. So that's pretty cool. Then there's Paradise X. I think there's some design stuff for Paradise X as well. It's Peter Parker, 40-year-old Parker, chunked up a little bit. Then he loses it, gets back into being a protector as a cop. We get into the Avengers, the all-new Avengers. I mean, the output that Alex has is just mind-boggling to me. I mean, these paintings don't just take a day. They take a long time, and the amount of work that you see out there that he has is totally astonishing. And I tell you, if there's a San Diego Comic-Con again, and if you can make it out, his booth is a highlight of the show, because it's like an art gallery in the middle of the show floor, and it's Alex's booth. I mean, he was making his own dolls as a kid. That's commitment. Now, how'd you like to have an actual Iron Man helmet sculpted on your work for photo reference? And then he did work up the design for the new Iron Man that's out now. That's just very cool. Still, like, Alex takes the classic look of the characters and he retains the classic look and just enhances it some. Because I mean, if you just look at this, it's the red and gold, red and yellow, whatever. But it's all basically in the same place as it was with the classic red and gold armor. It's just enhanced, and it's still slick. It's still sleek. It's not all chunked up with garbage. It's nice and clean. The Hulk. That's one of his, this is a painting by a guy named Earl Norham, who did a lot of paintings for Marvel in the 70s and 80s. One of Alex's influences. This is based on a famous Marie Severin Hulk cover. Nice homage. Of course, we know what that's based on, and it's shown in the corner right there. And just this tonal work that he does in pencil. It's just gorgeous. I was lucky enough at a South Carolina Comic-Con from 2 years ago. During the week of the con in town in South Carolina, there was an Alex Ross exhibition at a local museum. So we all went to it after the con one night and got to see a bunch of Alex's originals hanging up and even stuff he did as a kid and some display cases. And that was really cool to really look at the paintings, because no matter how nice the scan is, looking at the original painting is just so much nicer. Hulk mad because he got a hole blown through him. Do some more flipping. More flip. This is great. This is based on a Gene Colan piece Gene originally did from a cover of Tales of Suspense number 58. So Alex decided to take a stab at doing his version of it. The purples that are in this armor complementing. I'm making up words. Complementing the yellow of the armor. Sweet. Worked up a design for that when Bucky took over as Captain America, when Captain America was killed. Spoiler alert. Not really. That happened a long time ago. I love this different take of the Captain America #1 cover, except it's the Falcon Captain America punching an old Steve Rogers with the Winter Soldier down here. But the composition is basically the same as the first Captain America cover where he's punching Hitler. Thor, his redesign of Captain Marvel from 15 years ago. I love this. I've never seen this before. This is a design he worked up for Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, whatever, that they didn't go with. I think that's really cool. I do like this design because it harkens back a little more to the original male Captain Marvel. That's pretty tough. And the Eternals, and then just various pieces that he did. I love this Marvel Superhero Secret Wars #1 homage cover, going by Mike Zeck's original cover. So much cool stuff. So if you're a fan of Alex Ross, his X-Men redesign proposal, just like to see these. I'd love to draw these costumes. Well, not that I can't. I need to find a blank cover and just do my take using Alex's costume designs, because these are just cool. Little Hugh Jackman looking Wolverine. And then he also did a revamp of the Fantastic Four. Once again, kind of utilizing the original costumes, just tweaking them a bit. I love these 60s looking crazy pop art colors that he was doing on them. So that's it. This is the Alex Ross book. This is what it looks like without the dust jacket. Like I said, it's about 250 some pages. I'm going to flip the camera back around to focus on moi real fast. Let's see if I can get this. All right, so there you go. I showed you a couple Christmas presents that I got. I hope you enjoyed the little flip through of the books I did, kind of in depth and just talking about them. So that was the Marvel art of Adam Kubert and Marvelosity, the Marvel art of Alex Ross. I hope you enjoyed this little book review, and just check them out on Amazon, or heck, go to your comic retailer and tell them to order them up special for you so you can support local. And that's about it. Check out Mandiegogo again. That would be nice. I would love your support on it. And until next time, I think tomorrow I might pop on. I've got a sketch cover I got to finish. So I might pop on and do a live stream while I'm sketching on that. I'm not going to schedule it. I'm just going to pop on because I don't know when I'm going to do it. So until next time, thanks for joining me. Bye, guys.